I am myself from Perm. My name is Jabs Edgar Nikolaevich, born in 1995. I went to prison on November 2nd, 2021. While I was in prison, I received a war offer. Prigozhin came to us. It was somewhere on the 15th of November 2022. He promised that we would be free and have a pardon after 6 months of war. Your whole story will be cleaned. You will receive 100,000 rubles for the first month, and you will receive 150,000 in salaries in the second month. He said at the end of the contract, you would come home, you would have freedom and pardon, and in addition, you will also earn 1 million rubles each. But of course, we listened and agreed. 300 people gathered, and we began to be sent to our detachments to train, learn how to stand up and practice tactics. But after all this, we were taken to Kurdyumovka. At that time, we stormed the pool, and about 200 people died there. In the evening, just in the evening, group after group, we were sent to storm the pool. In other words, the losses of prisoners were very serious. But of course, Wagner's order was not to turn back. We must have moved forward. If you go back, you'll get shot. And so everyone went on, and there were people left in the third echelon at all. The commander gave us orders. The same prisoner as we were. He said that if we don't take Ivanivka this month, we may not even go home. We were told that we had only 1 month to take the Ivanivka. But of course there were a lot of dead and wounded. 3 cars were destroyed during the assault. They were destroyed and didn't make it to Ivanivka. The goal was still for us to take this settlement and move on to Bakhmut and block the intersection, so that there would be no supply of weapons to Bakhmut, to our enemies, as they told us, so that the enemy cannot bring in weapons to Bakhmut. And so our task was to block all those roads and simply cut off Bakhmut. Then the assault got weaker and weaker, and I went to the rear. I was there for about 3 months, but then it was the fifth month of my contract, and I was sent to the front line, to combat positions, to stand clean on duty. Well, of course, that's how I took it and surrendered when I realized they wouldn't let me leave. The task was to deliver ammunition to grenade launchers. Then we went to pick up for people in accordance with a certain place. When we went, we saw that people were already waiting for us, opening fire at us. They started shooting. Somebody crook over there, but I ran with my backpack. I've been shot, and I ran to the people on the other side, surrendered, and said, "Take me prisoner, I want to live." Naturally, Ukrainian people immediately took me, provided with medical care, gave me everything, provided me with everything. Of course, they brought me to their place very safe. Everything was done very well to keep me alive and prevent from bleeding. They did everything possible here, showed me to be alive and taken to a safe place. When the Russians brought me to Lebedь, they began to take blood to check if I was sick. I donated blood and it tested HIV positive. I probably got it from a girl I've been dating for the past 2 or 3 months, but of course she didn't tell me anything about it. They asked me if I served in the army. I said no, I didn't. I also said that I had HIV positive test, but they told me right away that I fit the army. The regular Russian army rotated every 20 days, but we were rotating only once, and then it was for 4 days only. Everyone was sent back. According to one rotation, we just all lived in the forest all the time. The regiment dug trenches. We lived in them. The conditions were very difficult. Sometimes we were hungry for 3 days in a row. We didn't have sleeping bags, so we collected them ourselves, walked all around the perimeter. Well, where you can find an old sleeping bag. What was there to hide in a trench? Regular troops, as they arrived at the positions, were fully equipped. They had sleeping bags. They had everything, all the conditions were fine. But we didn't. We were given 1.5 liters of water per day. But sometimes that didn't happen too. We all understood that we were sent to death. They told us if we won't go, we will be shot. And during the assaults, our own people shot their own. During the storm, one group came from the left side, second from the right, and the third was in the center. They had to take a forest. And when those three groups went in, they started shooting at each other. Naturally, a lot of people died. When they figured it out, and the commanders said, keep silent about it. Who is to blame? I think the top leadership, who gives the orders, and commanders, of course, who went on the assault. The commanders were the same prisoners as we do. This commander was given an order. He would gather people, pick them up, and push them forward. Go on, he said. Well, of course, he also stormed with us, participated in the assault. He was walking, just driving people forward. He had an order to drive us forward. Sometimes he shot us from behind. If someone didn't want to go ahead, he started shooting at the legs. Of course, people were afraid. Went ahead and took these forest belts in that way. Do you know what I'm going to tell you? If you're going to be recruited for the war, for money, for freedom, don't come here. This is hell. You will simply die. If you are in prison, just serve your sentence, it will be better. Don't come here, you don't need it. Peaceful people live here, don't fight them. Come to your senses before it's too late. And you haven't signed the papers yet. Don't be stupid like we did. It's better to serve your sentence than be here. Walk and shoot people. Think before it's too late. I am addressing everyone who will be called up for the war against Ukraine. Do not volunteer. You'd better not come here. No one has run away from here yet, and I don't think that anyone will.
И как я думаю, что никто не убежит.